The FBI has just blown the lid off one of the most explosive cover-ups in modern history. A covert ring of journalists and fact-checkers tasked with discrediting and burying the Pizzagate story has been exposed. But they weren't just protecting the paedophile elite, they were part of it. This wasn't just media manipulation, it was complicity. And as the arrests begin, the world is finally seeing the truth. The very people who called it a conspiracy theory were committing the crimes all along. Pizzagate was never a theory, it was a cover-up. And now their cover is blown, justice is coming down like a hammer. Before we dive in, a quick word about our partner VP.net, the next generation of private browsing. VP.net is the only VPN designed with true zero-logging architecture. That means, unlike other VPNs, it literally can't track you. So even if governments or bad actors come knocking, there's nothing to hand over. It's that simple. Your data stays yours, period. Go to vp.net/TPV for more. An award-winning Washington Post journalist was arrested and charged after authorities discovered child porn on his work computer. US Attorney Jeanine Pirro announced late Friday. Thomas Famler-Groh, a 48-year-old editor at the news outlet, was led away in handcuffs on Thursday after FBI agents raided his DC home and discovered a folder on his laptop which contained 11 videos depicting horrific child sexual abuse material. If you're shocked that a high-profile Washington Post editor, working for one of the leading outlets involved in burying the Pizzagate investigation, has been arrested, then you've not been paying attention. In November 2023, we revealed that FBI lawyers in court confirmed that Pizzagate is real, and also quietly revealed that paedophiles connected to an elite paedophile ring are under active investigation, and high-profile arrest of journalists and fact-checkers was imminent. Chalk this one up as yet more vindication for so-called conspiracy theorists. The bombshell admission from the FBI came during a court case involving Clint Herndon, a Texas A&M employee who was arrested on a sickening array of child sex and pornography charges earlier this month. According to a statement by the FBI, Herndon was using many of the same code words that TPV exposed Hillary Clinton campaign manager John Podesta using in his personal emails, including pizza, walnut sauce, Domino's, and hot dogs. Are we still expected to believe the mainstream media when they tell us it's all a big coincidence? TPV obtained an FBI affidavit from a special agent assigned to the case, and the details behind Herndon's arrest were absolutely disgusting. I'm not going to read out the entire text, due to the extremely disturbing nature of the details. But the document proves that the FBI are on the same page as the so-called conspiracy theorists, and that elite paedophiles who have been caught using Pizzagate code words and images are no longer safe from prosecution. The list of journalists and fact-checkers who covered up Pizzagate to later find themselves in handcuffs on child sex charges is growing longer all the time. Slade Somer, editor-in-chief at The Recount and friend of John Podesta, was arrested for raping multiple toddlers and babies. But it gets even worse. Police also found text messages that were reportedly sent by Shomer that shared advice about how to kidnap and rape a child. Those troubling conversations, according to Berkshire Assistant District Attorney Marianne Shelby, added a level of extreme cruelty to the case. And another friend of John Podesta was sentenced to 150 years in prison for raping over 500 children. Former College Park, Maryland Mayor Patrick Wojahn was also a friend of former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, who was sentenced to 150 years in federal prison. The Baltimore Sun listed Wojan's crimes as possession with intent to distribute and distribution of material that exploits children. A mixture of misdemeanors and felonies, with maximum penalties ranging from 5 to 10 years incarceration. Prosecutors argued Wojan had victimized over 500 children worldwide, 52 of which were identified by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. CNN producer John Griffin, who produced numerous segments debunking Pizzagate for Chris Cuomo's show, was sentenced to 19 years in prison for a slew of sickening child sex crimes in Vermont. James Gordon Meek, a 10-year veteran reporter at ABC News, who also bragged about debunking Pizzagate, is facing life in prison after being convicted of a sickening array of child sex crimes. It's not just the reporters and producers, it's the executives too. The newspaper that led the way in covering up the Pizzagate scandal was run by the man who also helped protect the notorious UK paedophile Jimmy Savile. Mark Thompson, who was the New York Times CEO at the time, was previously Director General of the BBC at the time that the UK's most prolific paedophile Jimmy Savile raped hundreds of children and murdered countless others while working for the BBC. He wasn't fired for his failures, he was rewarded. Today, he sits at the top of chairman and CEO of CNN Worldwide. That's how the system works. It's not about truth. It's not about accountability. It's about loyalty to the agenda. Because in the end, it's one big club and you're not in it. Now that we've established that Pizzagate is not a conspiracy theory, but a conspiracy fact, and that elements within the FBI are finally on the same page, let's follow the trail and see what they never wanted us to see. Let's talk about the names behind the curtain, the politicians, the celebrities, the power players in media and tech, those who were never supposed to be touched. Because the first wave of arrests hit the propagandists, and the next wave is coming for the puppet masters. As high-profile figures continue to fall, the floodgates are opening. Victims, witnesses, and insiders. One by one, they're stepping out of the shadows, finally ready to speak. And what they're revealing? It blows the lid off everything. Warning, this rabbit hole is deeper and darker than anybody ever imagined. The elite aren't just involved, they're drowning in it. Former Diddy artist and associate Freddie P is now openly speaking out about Pizzagate, revealing that crimes against children are part of a deeply entrenched culture in Hollywood and the entertainment industry.
If you look right now, Justin Bieber eating pizza, he's sending messages. Everybody know about Pizzagate. When you go through Instagram, once you get knowledge of what's going on in Pizzagate, then you go back and do your history of how long they've been doing it right in front of our faces. Not only Puffy, it's a culture. It's the people that's around them. It's Hollywood. It's Hollyweird. It's who they are. They belong to that. I don't know why people be seeming so amazed with what's going on right now. They belong to Satan. You get what I'm saying? That's the agendas they push is in your face. So
the elites aren't just dabbling in paedophilia and satanic ritual, they're deeply invested in it. Why? Because Lucius needs his loosh. That's the driving force behind it all. The dark fuel that powers their twisted system. It also serves multiple purposes within their inner circle. First, it's a loyalty test. Participating in unspeakable acts proves they're psychopathic enough to be trusted with even deeper crimes. Second, it creates mutual dependence. When everybody is complicit, betrayal becomes suicide. Third, they hold nuclear-grade blackmail on each other, ensuring silence through shared guilt. Fourth, and perhaps most disturbingly, the abuse isn't just ritualistic, it's tactical. It's how they create fractured minds, create alter personalities, and program victims to serve specific roles. Why else would a 9-year-old Monica Lewinsky advertise herself as a delicious pizza to be enjoyed by weird adults?
We happen to have someone who sent us Monica Lewinsky's poem that she wrote in 9th grade. Actually, not in 9th grade, when she was a 9-year-old. And I know I'm going to rot in hell eternally for this, but can I maybe just give it a sample?
Yeah, give a sample.
Okay. It was written, the poem is a poignant rumination on how, quote, I can be a delicious lunch, dinner, or breakfast, if you're weird. She goes on to describe herself, quote, as a round and flat piece of dough with lots of topping. I am a mouth's best friend. I make you say, yum, yum.
It's amazing how kids know at a young age what they're going to do with their life.
Want to see what Pizzagate looks like when it was hiding in plain sight? Welcome to the shameless era, when the elites didn't bother to hide, when celebrities paraded their symbols, their messages, their mockery, right in front of us. But the days of shameless arrogance are over. The era of accountability has begun. Pizzagate is no longer whispered in the shadows, it's gone mainstream. Joe Rogan is talking about it openly on the most watched podcast in the world, reaching more people than all of the legacy cable networks combined. The spell is breaking, the silence is over. And make no mistake, the abuser's time is up, because we the people are no longer offering our silence as implied consent.
Those emails are bananas.
They're not explained.
They're talking about young kids who are going to be coming to a party to have fun. They're talking
They'll
about
be in the
pizza
pool, and they will
hot
be there
dogs.
for sure.
The-
$65,000 worth of hot dogs flown from Chicago for a White House party.
The whole thing is like very weird.
Did you ever see the archived Instagram post from James Alefantis' Instagram?
No.
Because that's a dark place. So that there's so many layers to Pizzagate that they tried to cover up intentionally for very good reason.
Well, how about the logos?
Well, the thing is, I avoid, in the way I've talked about it, I've avoided all the symbols and logos and even some of the pizza stuff because I think there's so much more ripe, clear evidence that is way more powerful. And James Alefantis' Instagram account is a great example where...
Where can you find it online?
So you cannot find it on Instagram anymore. It's only been archived onto other sites, which is kind of sketchy because it's like, how do I know you're not adding photos and stuff? So you kind of have to dig and cross-reference over and over and over to make sure that you're getting sort of like the consensus, because everyone watched as it happened. Right. So people like Liz Crokin, people like Alex Jones, like they saw these things come out. And you can find plenty of different archives of all of James Alefantis' Instagram posts. And there are things like photos of children with their arms taped to tables. And the caption is, looks like a fun time. And then people that have always been commenting on his posts, like the people that are interacting with his posts all the time, have even weirder Instagrams where it's like kill room. And there's a coffin that's open and things like that. There's like a photo of like a walk-in freezer and it's like, man, looks like you've been having a fun weekend. Things like that are just super dark. And a bunch of babies and a bunch of symbolism, a bunch of children. And it's all photos on their Instagram in plain daylight. And they all got scrubbed, obviously.
Jesus
and that's not to
Christ.
mention Podesta's art collection and the Marina Abramovich connections. It goes on and on and on and on and on.
Here at The People's Voice, we're determined to continue holding the global elite to account for their crimes against humanity, but we need your help. Subscribe to the channel, tell your friends and family about us, and join the People's Voice Locals community for exclusive and uncensored content. I hope to see you there. Government agencies, NSA, CIA, Mossad, you name it, are tapping your every move online, feeding their globalist surveillance machine. Your VPN isn't saving you, your VPN is spying on you. They flash no logs like it's a promise. But what they're really saying is, trust us. Trust foreign outfits in Israel, Panama, Romania, Switzerland? Trust them not to sell your data when the globalists tighten their grip? We know their plans. They told us. They're building a digital prison planet, digital IDs, 50-minute cities, total internet control. The globalist takeover needs one thing. Every click, every search, every move you make online in their hands. You think you're safe? Mossad has just been busted spying on White House officials. Nobody's safe. I don't know about you, but it boils my blood knowing they're chaining the internet to their globalist agenda. That's why I've partnered with VP.net, the world's first verified privacy network. They don't promise trust, they prove it. Cryptographic proof in real time that they can't see your traffic. They can't see it, and neither can some tyrannical government, not even if they came with court orders and threats. Your data is locked in Intel SGX secure enclaves. Cryptographic vaults so secure, even the owners of VP.net are shut out. This isn't privacy by some flimsy policy, it's privacy by design, built to break their control. Once you see VP.net, you can't go back. Still using legacy VPNs in 2025? That's like wiring your brain straight into the surveillance matrix. Strike back against the digital overlords by visiting vp.net/TPV. It's privacy by design because the internet's their battlefield and vp.net is your shield.